Hey, welcome back everybody. April 26, 2020, another Soapbox Sunday here at Blue Glow Electronics. Hope everybody is doing well. This corona craziness is still running around out there, and I know people are cooped up at home. Hopefully our videos we've been cranking out some lately are helping ease the pain on that a little bit. Anyway, let's have some fun today with a few good topics, and let's just dive on in. All right, a topic near and dear to our hearts. What are we going to do here at Blue Glow Electronics for our 2020 amplifier build series? So a few weeks ago, I made a video about that. I made a post on Audio Karma. I've been getting lots of feedback from you guys on this topic, and I think I've narrowed it down to this choice, okay? I am going to go the 300B route, and I am going to build a high-end amplifier, okay? However, I listened to a lot of people's input, and they had some good ideas. They said, Mark, why don't you build the high-end amplifier, but show us the components that if we wanted to build it at a lower cost option. So that's what we're going to do. So it'll be the same design either way you want to go. It's really the dollars you would sink into the transformers, potentially into the tubes themselves, potentially into the capacitors and whatnot that would differentiate the price delta. So you could build this amplifier for maybe $1,000. You could build this amplifier for maybe $3,000 or $4,000, just depending on what kind of components you want to put into it. Okay, so that's the path we're going to go. I reached out also in one of my last videos asking about some CAD help. I had an outpour of people. No less than 20 people responded to me saying, hey, I do some CAD work in either my day job or as a hobby. I'd be more than glad to help you out. And I didn't know how to select from that. I didn't want to get into who was better or send me samples of your work. That wasn't really what this is all about. So I ended up just picking the first person that replied to me that I thought was qualified to do what we needed to do. So it was a little bit of a who responded first scenario. Everybody after that I've sent an email to basically thanking them, and I very much appreciate all the offers. And what I just said was, hey, I'm going to go down the path with this one individual, and if it doesn't work out for some reason or another, I'll come back around to you. So maybe the next project I'll hit somebody else up on there, because it sounded like people did have passion around helping out on something like this. I'm still debating a little bit the stereo chassis versus monoblock. More to come. I'll figure that out as I get into some of the chassis design with the individual and the cost differential, because you end up with 2 power transformers versus 1. You guys get it. There is a price delta in building monoblocks, but a lot of people like the monoblock concept. So not sure. And then the last part of this, I'll leave you with the number one response I got, which was non-applicable, was please finish up your please finish up your preamp design. And I'm just not there yet. I need to sink some serious time into this, because I think where it's at right now is good enough to be a commercial product. And I think if I sunk some serious time into it, it could turn out to be an amazing, an amazing preamp. And so I'm going to kind of put that on a shelf until I retire here in a few years, and then we'll come back and play with it. Maybe in the meantime, I'll find something else preamp-wise to play with, and who knows? We'll see how that goes. But that's where I'm at with the 2020 design, and stay tuned. I have been studying. I've been reading one after another. I probably read 200 articles on 300B amplifiers at this point. I've been going back through my old magazines and whatnot, things like Sound Practices, Glass Audio, whatnot. I've just been reading a ton. I've been searching the internet like crazy, trying to come up with what we're going to do. It'll probably be similar to what we did with the KT88, where I kind of picked Kegger's design and then just made some maybe construction and engineering tweaks as we built the unit. I don't think I'm going to design a 300B amplifier from scratch. Lord knows there are enough designs out there already. And so who knows? Maybe it's a combination of some of those that I weave together. But stay tuned. I think it'll be a over the summertime, fall type project, and should be a lot of fun. I know on my last few, especially the KT88, I've had like 100 people build that amplifier and send me pictures of it. So I know people got value out of the series, and the full detail I went into, I think, got people over the hurdle and decided they could do this. And so proud of everybody that did, and just excited we're getting to do this again. So stay tuned for more. Okay, some of you guys and gals may have seen this if you hang out on any of the Facebook audio groups. It's been posted in quite a few of them recently, but DIY Audio Store has built a preamp kit that you would build yourself. And right now they are selling it as a pre-order, okay? And it's designed to ship. It says shipping will occur once production is complete, Q3 2020, so later this year, okay? Pre-orders are open, and it looks like they end tomorrow. So if you want to get in on this, here's your chance. But it's a preamp using the Korg NuTube, and I don't know if you guys know much about that tube, but it's a low voltage dual triode tube. So it's designed to be used in modern equipment where you're kind of dealing with, you know, the plate on this will work anywhere from around 700 millivolts, believe it or not. And it's designed here not to be a huge voltage amplifier for gain, but more or less it's being used in some audio circuits here. I'll see if I can read the part here as I get down. It says here it can, it says in hi-fi, it can be used to emulate the harmonic characteristics of single-ended triode power amplifier. That's right up our alley. Not everybody's cup of tea, to be sure, but it opens up some interesting possibilities. And it looks like that DIY Audio Store here has built a kit around that. I have no idea how this is going to work out and whether it's going to be something even of interest to anyone once it's built. But at $300, I threw the dollars at it and ordered one. I thought we would build it together here on the channel and see what we get out of it. By the time I get mine and we build it on the channel, if it turns out to be something really good, I'm quite sure they would be available for purchase at that point in time. So you could just order you one at that time. So if you're not a risk taker, just hold out. I'm sure they'll be for sale. Maybe not at $299, but they certainly will be for sale later. Anyway, this tube, what I do know about it is there's been a few people that have played around with it. I know I watched on eVlog. You know, it seems to be somewhat of a microphonic tube. So when you tap on the unit itself, you can, it certainly has some movement in there that causes you know, some noise in the amplifier. But outside of that, maybe if it built properly, maybe put in the right chassis, maybe suspended properly, maybe this turns into a great amp. I don't know. We're going to find out. Stay tuned until third quarter this year when we get one. But the reason I want to post it today is because they are up, and I'll put a link to this in my video. One night this week, I was sitting around doing some searching on the internet, just looking at what could I do to improve my YouTube videos, right? That's what us YouTubers do. We ponder how to be more successful at this, okay? So I'm kind of searching the internet for things that successful YouTubers do, and I came to realize I fail all of them, okay? So if you find a list of things to do to be a successful YouTuber, one of the first things you will see is keep all your videos to 4 to 7 minutes in length, certainly no longer than 9 minutes. Epic fail, okay? Number 2, don't go into gory detail. Keep things high enough for a general audience. Epic fail. 3, you know, it's like, you could go down the list through 7, right? Or 10. I fail them all right? Here's the reality. I'm having fun and I don't care. Right? I don't care if I pick up a lot more YouTube subscribers. I don't care if I don't pick up a lot more watchers. I've got a lot of people that seem to enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm having fun, so we're going to keep doing it. You know, my target here, just to be clear for the channel, is from beginner up to the intermediate, how to do things and how to do things in gory detail, okay? I'm not making videos for the super high-end advanced engineer, because I might not be a super high-end advanced engineer. I'm still on my journey myself, okay? Even after 30 years. I just wish I'd have had videos like this to watch when I was growing up learning electronics and whatnot. So we're having a lot of fun. I watch a lot of other people's videos. I learn things all the time. It's all in the journey of knowledge. So anyway, I thought I would tell you why I failed and why I don't care. All right, have I got a treat for you guys today? Stay tuned, some good free music here. Let me give you the backdrop though. Guy sent me an email recently titled KT88 Single-Ended Tube Amplifier Build 2018. He said, I binge watched this entire series on YouTube Saturday night and really enjoyed it. Amazing what sound you got out of that for being so simple in construction and parts count. I was wondering what the song /45 that you played at the end of episode 8 was. It was rather good. Thanks, Oscar. So the song Oscar was asking about was a song called St. James Infirmary, done by Boogaloo's A Prayer. It's a rendition of an old blues song, but I'll play a little bit of it for you here. All right, so how I kind of came across this. You guys may remember it. I've mentioned I used to run a record label. My son and I used to put out vinyl records more as a hobby than as for money, but we had a lot of fun doing it. Just small little bands that we knew. And Boogaloo's A Prayer is kind of, I know quite a few of the members in this band. And some of the members in this band were in some other bands that I put out on records as well. So all kind of Detroit-based music here, and I'll show you a little more about it. So this here is the official archive for the record label I used to run called Grimtail Records. And I put out about 30 releases. I'm missing number 28, 29, and 30 in the archive. But Grim 10, which was my 10th release here, was a record, a 45 by this band Boogaloo's A Prayer on one side, and some other friends of mine from Nashville called the 1 through 10s on the other side. And they covered St. James and Infirmary and Eye for an Eye on this. And if you'll notice here, you scroll down, I'll put a link to this in there, but this was a private release, not for sale. And as you can see here, I pressed 25 copies of this. I basically went through the test pressing process and had 25 tests pressed made. And then I said, stop, don't do a production run. So there's only 25 copies of this that exist. Came with a sticker in a hand-done cover that my son and I made. This is a what they call a woodcut cover, and it's a kind of a skeleton playing a violin here and everyone around him dying. But it was kind of suiting for this song. And it was a heck of a fun release we did. What the focus of our label was super low quantity, kind of scarce, make some, give some to the band, and us have some and give some to our friend. I never hardly did anything with more than 100 copies released. So most of what I've done is hard to find stuff at this point in time, and some of them are kind of cherished by the bands. As you can see here on Pop Psych, one of these 25 copies sold in 2016 for $228. So somebody cares a lot about them, I guess. You can see there's been here on Discogs, there have been 3 sold there up in the $200 range. And there's one for sale for $225 right now if someone wants one. But that's not the moral of this story. The moral of this story is Danger Limited Sound, which was the label behind Erica and Jimmy, the 2 friends of mine that were in Boogaloo's A Prayer. They have put up all of their content for free now. So I'll put a link to this, but if you'll go to this website, you can download this entire album at 256K MP3. And if you'll notice on here, song number 4 is St. James Infirmary. By the way, this entire album is awesome. And if you'll kind of click around like on the Danger Limited Sound logo here, Henry and June was another band. I've put out some of theirs. This was at the Magic Stick in Detroit, 2/11/11. You can download this one as well. Just some really good old bluesy kind of stuff. So anyway, I'll put links out there for you. really good stuff. I love it, and had a lot of fun putting out some records with these guys back in the day. Okay, this story goes all the way back to October 6, 2019, so I guess about 7 or 8 months ago now. Got an email from an individual that's basically said they've been following my YouTube channel for years now. They built up an extensive collection of vintage gear for restoration along with test equipment similar to what I have on my bench. They went on to talk about a lot of the gear they had. They were interested in selling or trading some of this for some of my restoration skills. And this individual ended up living about an hour and a half from me. And so, we kind of started swapping emails back and forth, and lo and behold, this gentleman had a lot of nice gear. And as it turned out in the end, he was a retired orthodontist, and he basically was consolidating what appeared to be maybe two houses into one house, and had a lot of audio gear in both of them. And so I ended up going over and taking a look at what he had, and he had a house full. I don't know how else to explain it. A two-story house full of gear. Some, mostly vintage, but some newer gear as well. And we started talking back and forth, and he got interested in along the way in selling basically the whole lot. He was basically wanting to sell it all. And I think him and his wife were going to start traveling a good bit and just kind of seeing the country and whatnot. And so he wanted to hang on to a few pieces of audio gear there for his own personal listening. But this, I'll call it a hoard, because now that I own it, I'll call it a hoard of audio gear. Started making its way. I ended up buying the whole lot off the gentleman. It was not an inexpensive. This is not where I, found a ton of gear at an estate sale or something for pennies on the dollar. I think I paid fair prices for this stuff. But there's just a lot of good, clean, vintage audio gear here that you just don't see very often. And so I'll try to cycle through some of it here with you. He had some test equipment. As you guys know, I mentioned it a few months ago and ended up selling it online. Nice gentleman from South Carolina, and I met halfway in South. He was from Columbia. We met halfway in North Charlotte, and he picked this gear up. Gentleman had just a slew of stuff. Had some nice here. You can see Tamberg gear, lots and lots of. Pioneer, Sansui, Marantz, Scott gear. You can see these speakers here. These are some Linkwitz Labs speakers that he had built. Just incredible drivers in these things. It comes with six 350 watt amplifiers to drive these two speakers, and a passive crossover setup that goes along with them. As you can see here, a bunch of Harman Kardon gear in on the mix, some clip speakers. Let's see, Yamaha gear here, a lot of reel-to-reel stuff. Wow, as you go on through this, there's you got a whole quad setup, the speakers and drivers that I picked up. As you can see here, some Altec speakers, some KLHs. An old guitar amp. I ended up picking up this whole here Macintosh stereo setup that he had, which I'm using in my sunroom at this point. A super high-end, nice Luxman unit that came along with it, and loving the Macintosh MT5 stereo. Turntable I'm using at this point. And basically, I was out of space here at the house. My basement's full, my building's kind of full. So I ended up renting a storage locker and putting all this gear into it. And slowly but surely, I'm working on building a building right now here at the house. And when we get it done, hopefully this summertime, I'll get this gear moved back in here. I'll have some more storage space. But at any rate, I know some of you guys are wondering, is any of this gear for sale? It's not at this point. I want to take the time to go through it. Some of it's been restored, some of it has not. Some of it needs some tender loving care, so we'll end up going through it. And as I get closer to retirement, and my plan is to open a shop one day that people could come buy vintage gear at, this will be some of the stuff in there, along with a lot more like it that I've acquired over the years. But I just thought it was an interesting it's hard to find this much stuff in one location like this, and in such pristine quality. This guy had bought the best of the best when it came to quality, and I certainly appreciate him for the deal we made on all this gear, and just glad to have some of it, and I'm actually putting some of it to use right now. I'm loving the Max 6700 and the MT5 turntable. They are a very, very sweet special set at this point. So. All right, everybody, I'm going to call it a wraps for this. Just thought I'd show you a little bit of this, and we'll kind of take it from here and try to, let's see. I'm working on the Knight KB85 right now. I'm going to try to get that wrapped up. Had a little bit of more hum in the Macintosh MC30 C8 setup than I liked. I've been doing some troubleshooting on that. And I've got some other cool stuff in the works, so stay tuned. More to come. Thanks, everybody.